Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. My billionaire husband fell in love with Sophia Carter, a woman who came from the Carter training program. He said Sophia's soft, feminine voice was pleasant to hear, that she was beautiful, kind-hearted, and capable of providing emotional value. But only I knew the truth. Her face hadn't just been slightly altered. It had been 80% reconstructed. Her beauty was fake, and so was the persona she carefully crafted. Later, their relationship was exposed by the paparazzi. To protect Sophia, my billionaire husband, Jason Miller, wanted me to lie and say we had divorced long ago. I refused. In the end, Sophia was ruthlessly attacked online, and the cyberbullying drove her to her death. On the day I gave birth, Jason refused to take me to the hospital. He stood there, watching coldly as I suffered a difficult labor and bled to death. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn alongside Ryan Carter and Olivia Davis. "Let's get a divorce, Ryan Carter." My husband handed me a divorce agreement with an emotionless expression. I was stunned, and out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of the newspaper in his hand. The front page featured a report about a socialite, Sophia Reed, passionately kissing a mysterious man inside a car. Even if his face had turned to ashes, I would still recognize him. The man in the picture was none other than my husband, Ryan Carter. At that moment, the paparazzi had yet to uncover the identity of the so-called mystery man. That's when I realized I had been reborn, transported back to the very day Ryan had asked me for a divorce. "Sign it." His voice was cold, devoid of any warmth. I clutched the divorce papers tightly, suppressing the overwhelming hatred rising in my heart. "Really? Are you sure you want to divorce me?" I lifted my gaze, searching his expression for even the slightest hesitation or guilt, but all I saw was resentment. My heart sank. Could it be that Ryan had also been reborn? Without even lifting his gaze, he said coldly, "As long as you sign, I won't need you to clarify anything." In my past life, it hadn't been long after this report was released that relentless paparazzi uncovered Ryan's identity. The internet exploded in a frenzy, and everyone condemned Sophia as the other woman while sympathizing with me, the abandoned wife. Sophia sobbed over the phone to Ryan, saying she couldn't take the harassment any longer. Without hesitation, he demanded a divorce from me. Back then, I was blinded by love, crying about how much I adored him, begging him not to leave me, but he stormed off in fury. Meanwhile, his delicate and pitiful socialite girlfriend, Sophia, fell to her death after being stalked by someone. After she died, public sympathy shifted entirely toward Ryan. People said that our marriage had long been dead in name only, that I had stubbornly refused to let him go. And that was why Sophia had been cyberbullied to death. No matter how much I tried to explain that I had never intended to harm her, the blame still fell on me. I wanted to die. I proved my innocence, but Ryan comforted me, saying it was all in the past and that I shouldn't do anything foolish. Even my parents believed that as the richest man, it was inevitable for him to have affairs. They said he treated me well, and that having such a perfect husband was a blessing from my past life. They told me to cherish him. But on the day I gave birth, Ryan refused to take me to the hospital. He watched as I bled to death in agony. His eyes were bloodshot as he spat out, "I told you all you had to do was tolerate her existence. She wouldn't have threatened your position." His hand wrapped around my throat, squeezing so tightly I thought he would crush my bones. Sophia was harassed online and accidentally felt her death. You knew she was terrified of pain. Why wasn't it you who died instead? His grip tightened. "I shouldn't have married you. I should have forced a divorce sooner. Then she wouldn't have died." Tears streamed down my face as I desperately begged for mercy. "Ryan, for the sake of our child, please let me go." But he didn't listen. He picked up a knife and sliced open my stomach, ripping my child out with his bare hands. The pain was unbearable. For an entire hour, I screamed in agony until my voice went hoarse. I couldn't understand how the man I loved so deeply could do this to me. Perhaps he had been completely consumed by hatred. When he wasn't paying attention, I grabbed the knife from his hand with the last ounce of my strength and plunged it into his chest. In the end, we both collapsed in a pool of blood, remembering all the suffering he had put me through in my past life. I wanted nothing more than to kill Ryan on the spot, but now was not the time. I couldn't help but laugh. I laughed and laughed until even my tears came out. But in Ryan's eyes, "So this is how reluctant you are to divorce me?" Jason Miller sneered. "This divorce is happening today, whether you agree or not." He slammed his hand on the table, his disgust for me completely undisguised. I stared at him. Back when we first got together, he was just a broke, struggling college student with nothing to his name. Ignoring my father's opposition, I stayed by his side, helped him build his company, and even threatened my father with my own life to force him to support Jason. He was smart and ambitious, quickly rising to become a star in the business world. But I never imagined that one day he would betray me for a fake socialite, standing by as I died in childbirth. In my past life, right before I took my last breath, I had still foolishly asked him if he had ever loved me. His response crushed every last hope I had clung to. "I never loved you. I chose you because I had no other choice. Your family's resources were useful to me. A woman like Sophia Reed, understanding and gentle. That's the kind of woman who is truly my love." At that moment, I died with hatred in my heart. I swore that in this life, I would make him pay. I took a deep breath, steadied myself, and looked him in the eyes. "Jason, I agreed to the divorce." I forced my voice to remain calm, suppressing the anger burning inside me, but my trembling hands betrayed my true emotions. Jason was clearly surprised, as if he hadn't expected me to agree so easily. "There's only one condition," I continued. "We split the assets 50-50, the company shares also 50-50ths. His eyes darkened with rage. "Olivia Davis, don't you think you're being a little too greedy?" In his mind, I was nothing more than a money-hungry woman. "If you don't agree, then I won't divorce you." I met his glare without backing down. Jason gritted his teeth. "Don't push your luck." I held my ground, staring him down. He remained silent for a long time, but in the end, for the sake of Sophia, the woman he cherished, he clenched his jaw and said, "Fine." I laughed coldly in my heart. Sophia Reed, so this is the power of those high society training programs. No wonder she had Jason so completely under her spell. He was even willing to give up half his fortune just to get rid of me. "Let's do it now. I don't want to wait another second." In such a rush, he studied my face, searching for any hint of emotion. I smirked, wishing him and that homewrecker a miserable life together. My fingers tightened around the coffee cup, my knuckles turning white. I took a sip, forcing myself to stay calm. My biggest concern now was that he might change his mind or secretly transfer assets before the divorce was finalized. Jason's face twisted with contempt. "You're a venomous woman. Even after the divorce, this is just karma coming for you." I didn't respond. I simply signed the divorce papers and stood up, ready to leave. "Can't wait to move out, huh? You must really love her." I picked up the pen and swiftly signed my name on the divorce agreement. I didn't argue, didn't waste another word on him. I had seen his cruelty before. I knew what he was capable of. I refused to die at his hands a second time. As soon as I finished signing, Jason let out a breath of relief. Without even looking at me, he turned to the housekeeper. "Make sure she packs her things and gets out." His mind was already occupied with thoughts of Sophia. He couldn't care less about me anymore. I watched as he rushed off, not sparing me a second glance. That bastard. In my past life, he killed me. In this life, I would make him pay. After leaving Jason's mansion, I returned to the Davis estate. The moment I saw my parents standing before me, alive and well, I could no longer hold back my tears. "Olivia, what happened to you?" My mother's face was filled with shock and concern. I swallowed hard, my voice hoarse. "Mom, I got divorced." The moment I said it, I collapsed into her arms. "It's okay, sweetheart. Don't be afraid. We're here for you." My father, seeing how broken I looked, must have already guessed the truth. After all, news of Jason and Sophia's affair had spread like wildfire across the city. His hands clenched into fists. "Jason Miller is nothing but an ungrateful bastard. I swear I will make him pay." Back in my room, I opened my social media account and posted an old photo of me and Jason Miller, making it seem as if we had never divorced. I captioned it, Every moment with Mr. Miller feels so sweet." The comments quickly flooded in, filled with envy and admiration. A billionaire husband and his little sweetheart. So jealous. The love between Mr. and Mrs. Miller is truly enviable. I heard they've been together since college. I believe in love again. This unexpected PDA caught me off guard. Please have mercy. I scrolled through the comments and, within half an hour, I received a private message from Sophia Reed's alt account. "I've already moved into your room. Stop lying to yourself." She even sent a photo of her lying in my old bed, wearing my old nightgown and casually applying a face mask. I forced down the fury rising in my chest, shut my phone, and ignored her message. Over the next few days, I posted 3 times daily, sharing seemingly sweet and affectionate moments of Jason and me. I painted myself as a hopeless romantic, utterly devoted to him. After all, the real show was just beginning. From Jason's perspective, my behavior was proof that I was still deeply in love with him. This was exactly how I had acted in my past life, and it successfully dispelled any suspicions he might have had. On Monday morning, I went to Jason's company. The divorce agreement clearly stated that I owned half of the company's shares. By now, everyone in the office knew about his relationship with Sophia. As I walked in, the employees looked at me as if I were a joke. Why is she even here? Doesn't she know Mr. Miller only has eyes for Sophia? Now is she trying to win him back? Miss Reed is beautiful and kind. Why is this old hag still lingering? Aren't they already divorced? What's she doing here? Poor Miss Reed having to deal with this mess. Clearly, Sophia had been busy winning people over. I heard she often bought coffee and afternoon snacks for the staff, making sure to maintain her image as the perfect woman. In the past, whenever I visited Jason's company, he never allowed the employees to speak freely about me, but now their disdain for me was completely unfiltered. I let out a bitter laugh. I was the one who had built this company with him from the ground up. Yet in their eyes, I had become the homewrecker. But now was not the time to dwell on that. I continued walking forward. I had barely taken a few steps when one of Sophia's closest allies, a secretary, stormed up to me and shoved me roughly. "Didn't you already get divorced? Women like you with no shame still dare to cause trouble here." I had no patience for this. Without hesitation, I raised my hand and slapped her hard across the face. "You worthless idiot," I said coldly. "How dare you talk back to me? Get out of my company." The secretary clutched her cheek, eyes wide in shock. "How dare you? What right do you have? Mr. Miller already divorced you. Why are you even here causing trouble?" Just then, Jason suddenly appeared, his face filled with disgust as he glared at me. I met his gaze directly. "This company belongs to me as well. Why shouldn't I be here?" Jason's expression darkened as he realized the truth in his desperation to make me sign the divorce papers. He had given me half of the company's shares. The secretary's face turned pale. "With half of the company's shares in my name, I'm technically the vice president, wouldn't you say?" I lifted the divorce agreement slightly, making sure he could see it. "Olivia, stop this nonsense and get out." Jason roared, his patience snapping. I remained unfazed. "The agreement states that I own half of this company. I need an office. I'll be here every day to oversee things. Do you want to deny the contract? Should I call my lawyer?" Jason trembled with rage but had no choice but to accept the reality. "You'll regret this," he spat before storming back to his office. I glanced around the office and smirked. Let me make one thing clear. Anyone who pisses me off will regret it. The staff, seeing my unyielding stance, immediately shut their mouths, not daring to make another sound. That afternoon, Sophia arrived at the company just like she always did. Sophia carried a tray of afternoon tea and desserts, trying to buy the goodwill of the employees. She wanted them to recognize her as the company's rightful lady boss. She strutted into my office with a smug and provocative smile on her face. Sophia Reed walked in, radiating the air of a perfect hostess. "Olivia, I bought you a cup of coffee," she said sweetly. "I heard you were here and figured you must be working hard, so I brought you one too." Her soft, airy voice instantly made my skin crawl. So this was Jason's type. I glanced her up and down. She wore a form-fitting dress that was both elegant and refined, Exactly what you'd expect from a top student of a high society training program. I ignored her and unlocked my phone. Are you mad at me, Olivia? Sophia tilted her head, feigning innocence. Jason and we were completely clean before you two got divorced. Oh, so she wanted to clear her name? Not a chance. I put my phone down and stared directly at her. Sophia, I truly appreciate you, I said with a soft smile. I built this company with Jason from nothing. Now that he's successful, he tells me you're his true love, and since you're pregnant, I chose to step aside and let you have him. That's why I agreed to the divorce. Sophia's expression froze. Pregnant? She hadn't told anyone yet, not even Jason knew. But in my past life, before I died, Jason told me that both Sophia and their unborn child had died as well. He had wanted my baby and me to accompany them to the grave. That's how I knew right now she had just gotten pregnant. For a moment, she was completely at a loss. You're not mad, she stammered, looking shaken. This wasn't going how she had planned. She had expected me to be jealous, to lash out, to make a scene, but I wasn't playing into her narrative. She was flustered. I shook my head gently. No, I'm not mad. Now she had no way to portray herself as the pitiful, understanding woman caught in the middle. It's okay, sweetheart, I said, forcing I took her hand, my voice trembling as if choked with emotion. Even if he cheated first, I don't blame either of you. As long as Jason is happy, that's all that matters. I turned away, pretending to wipe away non-existent tears. You're so beautiful, Sophia. You went to a prestigious training program. You're kind and understanding. Compared to you, I never stood a chance. Sophia's face darkened. She realized something wasn't right, but didn't know how to respond. She was being praised, yet somehow it felt like a trap. She hesitated before mumbling, I should go. Without waiting for my response, she hurriedly left. The moment she was out of sight, my smile disappeared, replaced by an icy glare. I picked up my phone and played back the recording of our conversation. She had no idea that the moment she walked in, I had started recording. Now, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't wash this away. I knew Jason was already working on ways to push me out of the company, but there was something far more important I needed to do while I was here. I had to meet someone, Zachary West. Zach was incredibly talented, yet in Jason's company, he was constantly suppressed and overlooked. In my past life, I remembered that in just 1 week, he would resign and start his own business. Within 6 months, he would rise to become Jason's greatest competitor. I needed to secure him before that happened. I called Zachary into my office. He entered wearing glasses, dressed simply in a shirt and slacks. He had a scholarly, refined air about him. It was hard to imagine that in half a year, he would become a force capable of going head-to-head with Jason. Vice President Davis, you wanted to see me? His voice was calm and composed, not the least bit deferential. That only made me appreciate him more. I know they're suppressing you here, I said bluntly. I can help you. To him, I must have looked like a woman scorned, hell-bent on revenge against her ex-husband. He assumed I was trying to recruit him to go against Jason. I'm sorry, Vice President Davis, Zachary said firmly. I'm resigning in a few days. I probably won't be able to help you. Zachary West said this with an indifferent voice, his eyes filled with weariness. I know you want to start your own company, I said directly. Right now, you probably don't have enough capital. I'll invest $5 million. I'll be your first investor. His pupils shrank in shock, his face full of disbelief. Vice President Davis, do you even know what you're saying? You probably know my situation. I continued calmly. I divorced Jason Miller and took half of his assets. Now I have nothing left but money. I haven't been involved in the company for a while, so I don't fully understand its current operations, but I trust you. I looked him straight in the eyes, my expression sincere. Zachary hesitated, stumbling over his words. Why, you're not afraid I'll lose all your money? I smiled slightly and stepped forward, patting his shoulder. I'm not afraid. I believe in you. His eyes flickered with uncertainty after a moment of hesitation. He nodded. All right, I won't let you down. To him, this was like receiving coal in the dead of winter, exactly what he needed. Seeing his resolve harden, I couldn't help but smile. In my past life, I had been blind, dedicating everything to that ungrateful Jason Miller. But this time, things would be different. Just as I thought my revenge plan was progressing smoothly, I left work in high spirits, humming a tune as I headed to the underground parking garage. But just as I let my guard down, a masked man suddenly appeared in front of me, a gleaming knife in his hand. Without a word, he lunged at me. The cold steel plunged into my body, a sharp, searing pain tearing through me. My mind went blank for a second, but the instinct to survive kicked in. Instantly gritting my teeth, I used all my strength to shove him away and turned to run. Help! Somebody help me! I screamed, my voice echoing through the empty parking garage. I had just been reborn. Was I going to die again so soon? No, I refused. Just then, I heard a familiar voice. Zachary West. Stop, he shouted. The masked man hesitated for a split second before turning and fleeing without a second thought. The pain was unbearable. My legs felt weak, my vision blurred. The next thing I knew, strong arms lifted me off the ground, cradling me. My consciousness slipped away. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying in a hospital bed. Pain radiated through my body, making my brows furrow. In my hazy state, I heard Zachary on the phone, his voice tense. Jason Miller, your ex-wife has been attacked. She's in the hospital. You should come immediately. Jason, however, had his mind entirely on Sophia Reed. He didn't care whether I lived or died. It was only after he heard I had woken up that he finally decided to make an appearance. When he arrived, the first thing he did was grab me roughly and yank me up from the bed. Sophia said you staged this whole thing just to get my sympathy, he snapped, his face twisted in anger. I really underestimated you. Before, his expression was one of pure disgust, as if I were some vile criminal. The force of his grip sent a fresh wave of pain through me. My wounds screamed in protest, my face contorted in agony. You think too highly of yourself. I spat through gritted teeth. Why would I go to such lengths to trick you? Someone really did try to kill me. Enough. Stop lying, he roared, his eyes burning with fury. He didn't care about my pain. He only cared about proving himself right. His grip tightened even more, and with a sharp tug, he ripped open my freshly bandaged wound. Bright red blood instantly stained my hospital gown. Mr. Miller, what are you doing? A young nurse gasped in horror, covering her mouth in shock. Miss Davis suffered a serious injury. Jason finally let go, but his expression remained cold and filled with disdain. I was drenched in sweat, my face deathly pale, but the hatred inside me only burned stronger. Keep acting, he sneered. You probably hired someone to stage the attack yourself. My hands clenched into fists. West to your office this afternoon, and then this happens. You must have bought him off already. His gaze bore into me as if trying to see through me. In the past, his accusations would have crushed me, left me heartbroken, but now I only felt disgusted. I clenched my teeth and shot back. I already told you I'm not lying. I'm already divorced from you, Jason. I may not compare to your precious Sophia Reed, but I'm not stupid enough to hire someone to kill myself, I said coldly. Do you think you can compare to Sophia? Do you even deserve to? Jason sneered, grabbing my arms and shaking me violently. Mr. Miller, the police have caught the man who tried to harm Vice President Davis. I'm heading to the station now to give a statement. Zach West suddenly entered the room, his voice steady. Jason's face twisted in shock, a flicker of guilt flashing through his eyes, but it was gone just as quickly. I knew it. No matter what happened, he would never truly feel guilty for me. Even if I had died, all of his so-called tenderness was reserved for Sophia. Sophia had once sent me a video from one of her secret accounts. In it, Jason was at her birthday party, and she had accidentally cut her finger while eating crab. He had immediately panicked, treating her like she was the most fragile thing in the world. His face was filled with a softness I had never seen before. I forced myself to stay calm, pushing down the bitterness rising in my chest. Through clenched teeth I said, "Get out. I don't want to see you again in this life." Every time I saw Jason, I felt nothing but disgust. He didn't argue. With a frustrated huff, he stormed out. Not long after, my parents arrived. The moment my mother saw my injuries, Tears streamed down her face while my father's expression darkened with worry. "Someone must have hired a hitman," he said grimly. From the way Jason had reacted, it was clear he wasn't behind the attack. That left only one other possibility. A lingering fear clung to me, and I no longer wanted to step foot in Jason's company. This was the perfect opportunity to sell my shares. I had already secured Zachary West. I no longer needed the company. "My dear, you've been hurt so badly. You don't need to go back to that place," my mother sobbed, holding me tightly. I took a deep breath and said, "Dad, help me get in touch with a buyer. I want to sell my shares in the company." In my past life, if it weren't for my father's help, Jason wouldn't have risen to become the city's wealthiest man so quickly. This time, there was no way I was going to pave the road for his success again. My father remained silent, his expression dark as he realized I had truly woken up. After a long pause, he finally nodded. 2 weeks passed in the blink of an eye. My father informed me that he had sold all of my shares to Jason's biggest rival. Jason had no idea. He was probably still pleased with himself, thinking that my injury had kept me from interfering in the company. Meanwhile, I also heard that Sophia had officially moved into Jason's mansion. She had even flaunted a massive diamond engagement ring on social media. A ring so large it looked ridiculous next to her manicured hand. A familiar one rested beside hers, Jason's. I clenched my jaw, my fingers curling into tight fists, my nails digging into my palm. That despicable pair. The memory of my past life came rushing back. Jason tearing open my stomach with his bare hands, taking my unborn child. The sheer hatred that surged through me at that moment made me want to rip them both apart. I refused to let them have a happy ending in this life, so I made my move. I bribed several media outlets to start reporting on Sophia as a homewrecker. I paid top dollar for paparazzi to create a fake story about my post-divorce depression, even staging a failed suicide attempt. The attached image was a photo of me lying pale in a hospital bed, looking weak and frail. The paparazzi were eager for the scoop, and in return provided me with some exclusive photos of their own. Within hours, Sophia was trending. Sophia Reed homewrecker. Sophia Reed climbs to the top by being a marriage fake socialite. Sophia forces out the original wife. Concerned memes even found my social media account, where I had been posting affectionate memories of my happy marriage. She was just a naive woman who loved her husband too much, and now she had been cast aside. This poor woman was head over heels in love, and he still betrayed her for a fake socialite. My heart ached for her. She only ever saw her husband, but he treated her like trash. Within just a few hours, Jason's company website was flooded with hate comments. Sophia's social media accounts were even worse. Comments cursing her flooded every post. Just like in my past life, she was once again caught in a wave of cyberbullying. Only this time it was even worse. Jason quickly stepped in, making a public statement. Sophia Reed did not interfere in my marriage. Olivia Davis and I were already estranged long before the divorce. Sophia then took the opportunity to go live on social media, tears rolling down her face as she sobbed pitifully. "I never ruined anyone's marriage. Mr. Miller pursued me only after they were separated. Please believe me. Family, if you don't believe me, just ask the employees at the company. They all knew about the divorce." Right on cue, several of Jason's employees, people who had received gifts and favors from Sophia, stepped forward to defend her. Modern-day netizens are easily swayed by good looks, and Sophia Reed's flawed, altered face was enough to make some people start doubting the accusations against her. The tide of public opinion slowly began shifting in her favor, but I was prepared for this. I released an audio recording I had saved in advance, the one where Sophia admitted in my office that she was already pregnant before Jason and I divorced. This time, there was no way for her to clear her name. The moment people heard the recording, their anger erupted. A homewrecker like her deserves to be shunned. Shameless. How dare she try to justify herself? Every single one of her videos is flooded with hate comments. Serves her right. Unable to handle the backlash, Sophia had no choice but to disable her comment section. The situation spiraled out of control. Her address and phone number were leaked by determined fans, and soon she was bombarded with relentless calls and harassment. Some even gathered outside her house, refusing to leave. Luckily for her, she had already moved into Jason's mansion. Otherwise, she would have met the same tragic fate as before. Sophia quickly became the laughingstock of high society. Even the so-called elite women from her socialite training program started posting videos distancing themselves from her. Then Jason called me, his voice seething with rage. "Are you out of your mind? Do you really think I won't come after you for this?" he roared. "How dare you ruin Sophia, you vicious woman." He had never expected the once docile, submissive Olivia Davis to become so powerful. I remained indifferent. I merely told the truth. As for Sophia, I continued coldly, "There's no way I'm letting her off the hook." "You dare, Olivia?" His voice turned menacing. "Do you really think I won't bankrupt your father's company right now?" I chuckled, unable to hold back my amusement. Jason was standing on the edge of a cliff, and still had no idea. He didn't know I had sold all my shares to his biggest competitor. He didn't know I had secretly backed the very man who would become his fiercest rival, Zachary West. "Is that so?" I said mockingly. "I guess we'll just have to see if you have the ability to do that." For a moment, Jason hesitated. "What do you mean by that?" "You'll find out soon enough," I said. Then, without another word, I hung up the call and blocked his number. Everything had been set in motion. It was time to watch it all unfold. A few days later, I received news from my sources. Jason was in the middle of a board meeting when the chairman of his rival company barged in, announcing that they had officially acquired 50% of his company's shares. Jason was stunned on the spot. Chaos erupted within the company as he scrambled to deal with the crisis. Meanwhile, Zachary West was proving himself to be a true business genius. In less than 2 months, he had turned his own company into a thriving powerhouse, putting immense pressure on Jason's business. With his company in turmoil, Jason had no time to care about Sophia. Then, just as expected, Sophia came running to me, tears streaming down her face, dragging a few of her female colleagues along with her. "Olivia, you can say whatever you want about me," she sobbed dramatically. "But how could you destroy Jason's company? What do you gain from this?" Her carefully applied makeup was smudged, making her look pitiful and wretched. "I never intended to ruin your relationship," she continued, adopting a noble, self-sacrificing tone. "Please go back to Jason, remarry him." She wanted to act like the bigger person, painting me as the cruel villain. Truly a top student from a socialite program. The training program. She was the one who had destroyed my marriage. Yet now she stood here making it seem as if I was the evil one. Her colleagues chimed in, their voices laced with judgment. "You were so bitter after the divorce that you sabotaged his company. What a malicious woman. No wonder Jason didn't want you. Compared to Sophia, you're nothing. Jason gave you half his wealth after the divorce, and this is how you repay him." I couldn't help but laugh aloud. "You all know Jason and I are divorced," I said, my voice sharp. "We have nothing to do with each other anymore. Yet here you are making a scene. Are you trying to humiliate yourselves?" My gaze swept over the women standing beside Sophia, my presence alone making them shrink back. "You also eager to defend Sophia?" I continued. "Which makes me wonder, do you also enjoy wrecking marriages?" A heavy silence filled the air. The women exchanged uneasy glances, suddenly unable to speak. Then I turned to Sophia and raised my voice. "You claim to be kind and understanding, don't you? I already gave Jason to you. And yet look at you now. Acting like a crazed, jealous woman. You're nothing but a fake socialite who couldn't even get into college. You had to rely on plastic surgery and a training program to climb your way up." I narrowed my eyes. "Do your parents, the ones back in the countryside, know what their daughter has become? Do they know you ruined someone's marriage to become a mistress?" Sophia's face turned pale. I smirked. "Did you really think you could hide forever?" The moment her shame was exposed, she lost all control. With a furious shriek, she lunged at me, claws out, ready to attack. I slapped her across the face hard. The force of it made her stumble back, and within seconds, a bright red handprint bloomed across her cheek. Her entire face swelled up. For years, I had endured everything for Jason Miller, but now there was no way I'd tolerate this any longer. Did she really think I was someone she could trample on? "Are you addicted to playing the victim?" I sneered. Do you really think you'll get away with this? By tomorrow morning, the trending searches will be full of your name. Or maybe I should just start a live stream right now and let everyone see what a fraud you really are. Sapphire Reed's face twisted in rage. Embarrassed and humiliated, she shoved me aside and ran out crying. In my past life, I had cared too much about my reputation, compromising myself over and over just to maintain peace. But from now on, neither she nor Jason would ever have the chance to bully me again. I had made the right choice. Within just a few months, Zachary West's company soared to the top of the industry, becoming the undisputed leader. Zachary was a man who valued loyalty. As a token of gratitude, he offered me the position of chairwoman of his company. I immediately refused. That was basically a death sentence, having to work every day. No, thank you. But Zachary insisted. After relentless persuasion, I reluctantly agreed to become the vice president. If on 2, Jason found out I had become the largest shareholder in Zachary's company, he called my mother, inviting my entire family to a reconciliation dinner to apologize. I declined without hesitation. We have no connection to each other anymore, I told him flatly. 2 days later, Jason actually showed up at my office. Haven't I told you already? He demanded, his voice full of anger. Stop bullying Sophia. His eyes were bloodshot, and his entire demeanor reminded me of the moment in my past life right before he had killed me. I should have been afraid, but my hatred overshadowed any fear. I met his gaze coldly. You keep saying I bullied her. When have I ever bullied her? I don't need to see it with my own eyes, he snapped. Sophia said you did. Do you think I'd believe a deceitful woman like you over her? Olivia Davis, he warned, his voice dropping. I'm telling you one last time. Go online and clear her name. Admit that it was all a misunderstanding, that you slandered her out of jealousy. If you do that, I'll consider remarrying you. His arrogance was almost laughable. If you refuse, don't ever think about seeing me again. Jason was clearly trying to threaten me, but I only found it amusing. I had been so obsessed with him in my past life that he had actually convinced himself I couldn't live without him. I scoffed. I would love nothing more than for you to disappear from my sight forever. His face darkened. Do you even hear yourself, or are you just playing some twisted game trying to get my attention? Olivia, he said, his voice laced with condescension. I'm giving you one last chance. If you change your attitude, I might reconsider. We can remarry. Was he delusional? Before I could shut him down again, his phone rang. From the bits and pieces I overheard, I caught one key phrase. The board had voted to remove him as chairman. I arched a brow and smirked. Well, aren't you going to run along? If you don't leave now, you might not have a position to return to. His face shifted instantly. Without another word, he turned and stormed out, but not before throwing a final threat over his shoulder. You think this is enough to bring me down? You underestimate me, Olivia. His self-righteous arrogance was almost laughable. He had no idea that by the time reality caught up with him, it would be too late. My father had spent decades navigating the business world. Taking down Jason Miller was child's play. To my surprise, Jason returned that very afternoon, but this time he looked nothing like his usual self. His once pristine white dress shirt was crumpled, his hair a disheveled mess. He looked utterly defeated, and yet despite his miserable state, he still tried to act like he was above me. Olivia, he said, standing before me. Is this all because I was with someone else? Are you jealous? Is that why you're doing all of this? If it makes you feel better, he continued, sighing dramatically, I'll spend more time with you. Just tell your father to back off, okay? The sheer arrogance of this man had reached my limit. Loud crash. I hurled my teacup straight at his head. The cup shattered on impact, sending shards of porcelain flying as hot tea splattered across his face and mixed with the fresh cut on his forehead. Blood trickled down from his temple. You really think too highly of yourself, I said. You cheated on me during our marriage, acted like it was your right, and nearly got me killed for her. And yet you still think I can't live without you. For years, I had always been obedient around Jason, but not anymore. This was the first time I had fought back against him so fiercely. Jason Miller looked stunned, wiping the blood from his forehead. Olivia, don't you think you've gone too far? His voice was laced with fury. Is this how you treated Sophia too? Or was it even worse? I picked up the photos the paparazzi had given me and flung them at his face. Jason, stop acting like a fool, I said coldly. You think Sophia is some pure, innocent woman? You don't even know if the child she's carrying is yours. While she was with you, she was also riding around in a director's car late at night. With that, I threw the photos in front of him. Jason's face paled as he stared at the images. His hands trembled as he picked them up, his expression shifting from disbelief to pure devastation. No, this can't be real. It's impossible. You're lying, he stammered, his voice shaking. Ah, so now he knew how it felt to be betrayed by the person he loved most. The perfect image of Sophia he had built up in his mind crumbled in an instant. Jason dropped to his knees, his body shaking. It's my fault, he muttered. Olivia, please save me. His hands clutched his face as he wept, the pathetic sight almost comical. I was blind before, he sobbed. I can't believe I chose her over you. I was so stupid. Jason suddenly began to slap himself over and over, his face growing redder with each hit. I'm sorry. It's my fault, he wailed. Please forgive me, Olivia. I'll change, I swear. I stood still, watching him with nothing but indifference. Once upon a time, I might have pitied him, but now I felt nothing. Leave, I said coldly. Never come back. If you don't get out of my sight, I'll call the police. I had no patience left for him. Even if he died 1,000 times over, it wouldn't be enough to satisfy my hatred. Jason kept begging, his voice desperate. But I've always loved you, he cried. I don't want to lose you. I felt my stomach churn in disgust. Do you even believe your own words, Jason? I asked mockingly. You always looked down on me, didn't you? To you, I was just some spoiled rich girl who never lifted a finger. But tell me, without me, would you have gotten to where you are today? And now suddenly you claim to love me. I laughed coldly. How ridiculous. Jason's voice dropped to a whisper. I was deceived by Sophia, he mumbled. I thought she was kind and understanding. I was wrong. I crossed my arms, unimpressed. Say whatever you want. It doesn't change the fact that we are done. No. I can't lose you, he lunged forward, grabbing my wrist. I snapped. My fury boiled over. Back, are you even human? I screamed. Do you not understand words? I raised my hand and slapped him hard. His face swelled instantly. Hit me all you want, he said brokenly. As long as you forgive me. I don't care. He stood there unmoving, letting me vent my anger on him. Olivia, I really regret it, he whispered. I finally understand now. After we divorced, I realized you were the one I truly loved. Jason, once so proud and arrogant, had completely crumbled. He clung to me desperately, repeating over and over. I was wrong. Please, Olivia, forgive me. I yanked my hand away, disgusted. You make me sick, I spat. You can call me a pig, a dog, whatever you want, he pleaded. Just give me a chance to make it up to you. Jason was no longer the mighty CEO. He was a pathetic, grim mess. I can't live without you, he whispered, staring at me with a gaze full of desperate longing. Once upon a time, I had dreamed of him looking at me like that, of being cherished by him. But now, that gaze only filled me with revulsion. Without thinking, I reached out and grabbed him by the throat. My fingers tightened around his neck. Do you remember? I hissed. Do you remember how in our past life you strangled me like this? How you mercilessly tore my unborn child from my body with your bare hands? Jason's eyes widened in shock, his face drained of color. You remember? He stammered. My grip tightened. Did you really think I'd ever forget what you did to me and my child? Jason had never loved me. If he had, he wouldn't have killed me so cruelly in my past life. No, this wasn't love. He was only panicking because he no longer had my help. He was worried about his company going bankrupt. I didn't look back as I walked away, leaving Jason Miller standing there, shattered and lost. The next time I heard about him was through the news. Socialite Sophia Reed brutally murdered by her husband, Jason Miller. Jason commits suicide after killing his wife. The footage cut to their bloodstained mansion. Reporters stood in front of a crime scene so gruesome it sent shivers down my spine. The bedroom was in complete disarray, the floor covered in blood, and a knife lay discarded, its blade stained crimson. The entire scene was horrifying. Memes flooded the comment section with outrage and disgust. This man is terrifying. Sophia and Jason got exactly what they deserved. Thank God the original wife left him before this happened. Trash like them belong in hell together. The public's condemnation was relentless. No surprise, he was always a ruthless man. Whoever ends up with a guy like that is doomed. Reading the comments, I finally let out a long breath. I didn't feel even a shred of pity for them. This was simply justice being served. At that moment, Zachary West approached me. As always, he stood there stiffly, looking slightly unsure of where to place his hands. Much of my success in taking revenge this lifetime was thanks to him. I turned to him, my gaze filled with gratitude. He seemed to notice, and for some reason, his ears turned red. He looked just like an awkward young boy. "Can I take you out to dinner?" he asked carefully, his voice laced with nervousness. I hesitated for a moment before nodding. Okay. That evening, he showed up in front of me holding a bouquet of flowers. "I'm not good at romance," he admitted, his gaze unwavering. "But I know one thing. I like you." His eyes burned with determination as he looked straight at me. "From the moment you said you believed in me, I opened my mouth to refuse, but he cut me off. I know you've suffered so much in the past," he continued. "From now on, let me be the one to protect you. I won't let you be hurt ever again." I froze. Tears suddenly welled up and spilled down my cheeks. In this life, I had been consumed by hatred every single day. I was so tired. Finally, I nodded and stepped into Zachary's embrace. It was time to let go of the past. From now on, I would live for myself.